Hi, I'm Tyson Franklin, and welcome to this week's episode of It's No Secret Dr. T. With me today is a very special guest. It's a person I love more than anybody else in the world. It is my wife, Christine Franklin. So, hello, Christine. How are you doing this morning?
I'm a little bit nervous and also flattered and honoured, and my heart's a little bit full of love for that introduction.
Well, this is episode 201. So it's only taken me 200 shows to get you on
finally
here.
get me. Yeah, you asked me to do that many moons ago. But anyway, I'm finally 201 on your list, and you say I'm the most loved person in your life. Ha!
Oh, I asked you ages ago, and you said, okay. And I said, let's schedule it in my diary. And you kept fobbing me off.
No, you just stopped asking. You didn't ask me.
Okay.
Anyway, we're here now.
We're here now, so this is the main thing. Now, originally, when we thought about doing this conversation together or having this podcast episode, I thought, wouldn't it be good to talk about what it's like from another person's perspective of not so much just living with me, but living with somebody. Some people would class as an entrepreneur, always got these ideas and these business thoughts. But then I thought, what would be better as we talked about what it was like for you and I to actually work as a husband and wife team, because we worked together in business for over 20 years.
Absolutely. And that's a great topic, especially because if we went with the other topic, you'd be too concerned that I'd say too many things that possibly wouldn't be so great. Anyway.
Yeah, okay, maybe that is why I changed my mind. No, seriously, it's I think sometimes I probably can be difficult.
You're high maintenance.
I'm high maintenance.
No.
Oh, high maintenance. Okay. But this is why we decided to change the subject.
That's right.
To what it's like to work as a husband and wife team, because I know there's a lot of people that have businesses who are husband and wife teams who work together, and sometimes they clash. And we've got friends who have actually openly said to us, I don't know how you two can work together and live together and not want to kill each other. So what do you say to people when you hear that?
Well, initially, when it first happened many years ago, when we first made the decision that I was going to leave my job as a travel agent to come and join your business, everyone was like, and these weren't, some were friends, but some were just acquaintances or clients of mine. Why would you want to go do that? You'll kill each other. And I just never understood that, because I thought if you love one another and you get along enough that you've married each other, I couldn't understand how you couldn't work together. So we proved all those people wrong, because we did awesomely, and our business only grew. I think when we got together, and we had ideas to bounce off each other and support one another and put the hard hours in together and stay up together. At least we were both on the same train of thought and track.
And my business did. My business really boomed when we started working together. That's
right, because I'm just awesome.
Yeah, Jeez, I have rubbed off on you, haven't I? Usually that's the sort of comment that I'd say.
That's right. See, you've taught me well.
No, but I remember before you came and worked in my business, and I had the podiatry clinic before we were married.
Correct.
And I had other people working in the reception. I had another podiatrist working for me. And you always said, when we got married, you would come and work with me. I just hope that you can afford me. That was what that's what you used to say to me.
I did.
I hope you can afford me.
Well, honestly, because you are very honest to your listeners, you were doing it pretty tough back then. You were on the what do you call it? You're steady, but you were going up. But when I found you, when we met, things were pretty.
Yeah, things were tight.
Tight.
Yeah, very tight.
Rock bottom, even.
Yeah.
Possibly for you when I came into your life. So. You
didn't marry me for the money.
I didn't. And I I had faith in you, and I knew that was just something you were going to grow through. And I thought that we could do that together and we would make an awesome team. I never doubted at all. But so me saying that was, I was concerned that by me having my job, that was a steady income.
Yeah, it was safe.
It was safe. Not that it was a lot, but it was an income that was guaranteed to come in every week. And I was concerned that if I came to work for you, we had to make sure there was enough money in the business to be able to pay me to contribute to our
And plus,
our family.
at the time then when we got married, we'd built a house.
Yep.
So we had a mortgage.
Yep.
So your regular income was like that safe money that was coming through.
Yep.
And here I was off doing the podiatry business, trying to put it all together.
Yeah.
And so then you took this. What made you make the decision?
You were getting really crappy receptionists.
Now, anyone listening to this who used to be one of my crappy receptionists,
Oh,
we're not talking about you, we're talking about the other ones.
No, well, no.
We didn't have
not,
systems. We
no.
didn't have systems. We didn't have any training in place.
Yeah, they didn't. I knew that I could put in 100% more effort than they were. They were just doing the bare minimum. I knew that I could come in there and support you as a wife, but also as a business partner, as a colleague that was going to support your move and help you out throughout your day, so you could do the best at what you were great at, which was seeing the patients and bringing the people in and treating them, and I could look after all the rest. And I absolutely enjoyed doing that. And we started, nice and
small. It was really small. It was you and I, and we had another podiatrist at the time, Paul.
Yep.
Who was already working there.
And we'd only just hired him just before we left on our honeymoon.
Oh, yeah, it was too, wasn't it?
Yep.
Paul started 2 weeks, and then, as you do when you employ a new graduate, you go and zip off for a 2-week holiday and leave them to look after your clinic. So, yeah, that was a learning curve.
It was, but at the same time, we wanted to have the honeymoon. We wanted to have our time together, and we knew that we could just bounce back. But that was August, and I didn't start working for you until December.
That's right. Yeah, so it wasn't straight away.
No.
But you remember, I also recall we went to the bank and we got a $20,000 overdraft.
We had to have we had an overdraft.
Because we thought we may need this with this whole transition of taking on a new employee, taking some time off. We might need that overdraft. But as I recall, we never used it.
No.
I think we had it there as a safety net. We got really close, but I don't think we ever ended up using it. Things just started to pick up.
Yeah. Because, at the same time, then when I started, I joined the Franklin team.
Team Franklin.
You were also starting to get your momentum as well, and you started doing some marketing. You started doing some workshops, and we had a marketing guy on board.
Yeah, well, that's when I got my first business coach.
Yeah,
I went along to a 2-day seminar that was run by Brad Sugars.
Yeah.
And went along to that, and I came away from that, and I always recall that seminar, and I have spoken about it on this show before, and I've mentioned it other times, when he said, write down what your money goal is for the next year. And everyone wrote down their money goal, and then he said, okay, what do you need to do to achieve that? So everybody wrote down all the different things you had to do to achieve it. Then he said, okay, now add an extra 0 on there. And everyone in the room went, ooh, yeah. Mm-hmm. And he went, oh, do you need to do something differently to actually achieve that now? And if somebody had a gun to the head of all the people that you loved, such as yourself, Christine, could you come up with some new ideas? And all of a sudden everyone's going, well, yeah. And he said, well, if you can do that under that sort of pressure, why can't you do that anyway? And that just totally opened up my mind to the possibility of we're putting limitations on ourselves.
Yeah. But also, you were in a better position with your life. You were a happy husband. You were a happier person. You had a lot more, you had some support and love in your life. Moi.
So you decided to leave the travel agency.
Yep.
Where you were working at Hardly Worth the Travel.
Yes.
Oh, Hardly Worth the Travel, wasn't it?
Manager, Harvey World.
Harvey World Travel.
Yes. Not Harvey Norman.
Yeah. So, and then when you came to work, what was it like first coming into the business in something that you really knew nothing about? Can you recall? Was it a big learning curve?
Yeah, initially it was very boring.
It was boring. Boring. Considering to what you were doing, because you were in a shopping centre.
I was in a shopping centre. I had a client, big client base, managing the agency as well at that time. And it was pretty much go. Coming to you, you're in a small little business complex, and the only people walking in were your patients for the day. So my first biggest thing was learning to call people patients and not clients. But yeah, sitting at the desk. But I knew, I guess I already came from a service-based industry. So me greeting people and attending to people's needs, or talking to them on the phone, that was fine for me. So I figured, well, that's easy. I can learn the rest. And I think when it's your own, it was yours, and I was your support team, but it was ours. That there's just that you're not as scared because, well, it rests with you. I couldn't really stuff up anything. Yeah. It was all very manual back then too. So appointments were written into a diary.
Oh, paper diary.
We didn't have a computer system. Everything was very manual. So, and you were there. And it wasn't like we weren't run off our feet at the beginning. So there was plenty of time of you teaching me the ropes and showing me what codes meant and words meant. And I don't know, I don't think of it being ever difficult. It was
fun.
It was fun. And you were great. You were never, abrupt or nasty. We would laugh a lot, and we've always been able to laugh through most things.
Yeah, that's
with
true.
With work, yeah. So, and it was quite enough that we had that balance, but we could stay after hours too, till whatever time, and get things done, and learning a few codes and learning from a great teacher, then you learn pretty quickly. And if you're really interested and passionate about making something work, it was certainly easier at learning that than learning, ticketing systems and airline tickets around the world when I first started that industry.
Back in the old days.
Ooh, yes.
But I recall, like back then when you mentioned we could start any time we wanted in the morning. And what I think is really important too, that we rarely went to work in the same car. We both had our own cars. You used to go to work and I would go to work. And even if we were starting 15 minutes apart, we rarely did we go at the same time. So we both had our own flexibility of going to work. And if you needed to leave work early, you could leave and go and do other things. We weren't sort of dependent on each other that much.
Well, back then when we first started, we were in a much smaller basic clinic. We didn't have children, so it was really just us and work. Work was our life. And when I'd be leaving, it was mainly leaving to do mail and banking and errands for the business. Or sometimes when it was so quiet, I would leave at lunchtime, go mow our lawn. I'll never forget that. Going home, mowing the lawn, showering, coming back to work. Because we were close enough. And that was flexibility. But that was using the most of our time as well.
So was there a point in the business where you felt, okay, I can pay? Yeah, like obviously you knew I could pay you because we sort of looked at the numbers and went, well, I'm already paying somebody else to do this work. So therefore, I know that I can afford to pay you. But was there a certain point where you went, I'm starting to feel comfortable now? I
don't think I ever really... It didn't take long at all. I don't remember ever feeling nervous as we started. Maybe initially I can't remember or recall that. But certainly it didn't keep me up at night. We were fine. I loved our time together.
Oh, I used to. I do. I think back
time together. We'd lunch together, and we could talk about the same thing because we knew exactly what was happening. We could talk about patients or where we were going, and it was awesome. We lived and breathed everything together.
And I think that's really important that we actually, like you said, we treated the business like it was our business. And we put in the time. We were there early. We had lunch together. We would stay as late as we needed to get whatever needed to be done.
Yeah.
And then we slowly started creating systems and implementing systems.
Absolutely, and a computer program.
Ooh.
Oh, that was huge.
Yes, that was when the Millennium Bug was coming in. Remember the Millennium Bug? It was the year 2000 that we ended up getting. We switched over to a computer diary with front desk.
Right, was it then? Okay.
Yeah, year 2000.
Yeah.
And that's where it was so nerve-wracking to go to a computer-based diary. And I remember for a period of time we had both just in case the computer wasn't going to work because you can't trust computers.
No.
And I look back now and I think we should have done it way.
We should have, but also it was financial as well. You had to
Yeah,
have
true.
the money to do that. So, and you had to have someone, we made that decision, and like a few decisions we've made, you're like, oh, a bit risky or a bit worried, but we never looked back. And same with when you ended up doing some coaching, and we had the marketing guy to business coaching, sort of marketing, and implemented some stuff with him. How are we going to afford him? I think it was like $500 a month.
No, going way back then,
Wasn't
it was $1,000 a month.
Okay.
Because I remember this is going back, 18...
20.
Or 20 years ago.
21.
21 years ago. And I remember this business coach came along and somebody said, you should get a business coach. And went, okay. And we looked at the money and went, it's $1,000 a month, which in today's terms is probably like over $2,000.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was huge.
What we were turning over at the time wasn't a huge amount either. No. But we just went, okay, we need to do this. So we did that. And that was probably one of the best decisions I made. That really opened my mind.
We never needed to look. Yeah, it just grew incredibly from there. The systems we put in place, and back then they were simple systems, but people weren't doing them. Like thank you letters after every time a patient would come in. It was simple things
how
like
simple
that
is actually thank somebody for coming into you.
Correct.
Not just thanking
them. And it was a letter.
And a letter, sending it out. And I can't recall the last time I actually got a letter from a business thanking me.
Especially not a medical business.
No, but even when somebody sent, today, you might go somewhere and they might send you an email. Okay, and it's amongst the other 300 emails you got that day, and it sort of just disappears. But if somebody sent out a letter thanking you for using their business and it cost them $1 for a stamp, how much goodwill is that they're building up?
I think stamps were 45 cents back then, so it was it was a lot more economical as well. But it was just a part of the routine. The systems, and just things worked. We were happier, and certainly 100% believe if you're happier in a person in your personal life, that only reflects in your business life.
I do, and I think patients, clients, customers, whoever's listening to this at the moment, I think that they pick up when the business owners are happy. But one thing I want to talk about is we did not take a holiday other than our honeymoon. We did not take a holiday for a number of years because we put so much effort and money back into the business to make sure it kept running.
Yeah.
You remember our first holiday? I do.
Oh, I remember just quick little trips to the Gold Coast,
we go to Gold
Brisbane,
Coast
that
and
sort
Brisbane.
of thing, to see your family.
Yeah, and you might go to a conference for a couple of days. But our first
overseas holiday?
our first overseas holiday.
Well, we'd already had Tia.
Yeah.
And Tia was like
so Tia didn't come until
Borneo.
Yeah, Borneo.
And that was because it was a paid trip through the media company that we were advertising with.
So that was like 9 or 10 years after our engagement, after we went on our honeymoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So up until that point, we just kept putting everything back into the business. But once we took that holiday, that was a fun. Borneo was great.
It was great. It was different. And it was also a destination that we would have never chosen to go to. And we certainly wouldn't have put the time or the money aside to have done that, because we were so set on having to work the business, having to be in the, be there for the business. But we were just starting to, actually we'd had Tia, so I was able to I didn't want to have children until we knew we could support having a child with me coming away from work. So we were in a good situation by then.
Do you think in hindsight we worked too much? No, don't think so.
No, I didn't. I enjoyed it. I was with you, so it didn't matter. It wasn't like I was working for someone else's business.
We were doing it together.
We were doing it together. We used to, when we were then doing advertising, we were getting perks from the media and invitations to things that obviously we slackened off. I certainly don't get now because we don't have that. But, movie tickets during the week or events during the, on the weekend. So we still had a social life and I never felt like we were missing out because we were working on our number one goal. And I guess that's where we both had backgrounds of knowing that you just have to work hard to get places. So we were prepared to do the miles.
Yeah, I remember one bit of advice you gave me.
Me?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, not this sounds bad. One bit of advice. You gave me a lot of advice over the years.
Suggestions.
But there's one thing, and I have mentioned it before to a number of people, and I remember complaining, getting home one day, and I said, "Oh, Christine, we're the only people I know that don't have a big flat screen TV." And I was a bit dirty on it. I'm going, yeah, everyone's got a big flat screen TV. We've got this big box sitting there. And you went, oh, well, do you know we're the only ones that don't, with our circle at that time that don't have a mortgage? And I went, touche.
Well, for me, that was my first dream. Yeah.
Yeah. Our priority was putting money back in the business, putting our time and effort in the business, paying off our mortgage because, the interest you're paying is not tax deductible. And then later on, then I could get the big TV. Mm-hmm. And we ended up getting a TV. It was a perk through one of the media companies
again.
As well.
We didn't have to pay for that either.
No.
Well, you do. You're paying for it in advertising bills through the business, and then they would reward
But
you.
you taught me delayed gratification. If I'd been left to my own devices, like a lot of guys, we like toys. We like playing, things and cars and holidays and travel and all that. But you actually taught me, no, wait. And my mum was exactly the same. She used to always say, do not put anything on a credit card unless you can pay that credit card off in full when the bill comes. Don't let it accumulate. And you and I have been...
Yeah.
And I think that's helped...
Massively, yeah.
With how your parents brought you up to respect money, and I was brought up to respect money the same way, has definitely been a benefit. But you also kept me under control because I would have been a loose cannon.
Yeah, but it is. It comes back from, what we were brought up with, and thankfully it was values that we respected and, took on hold ourselves. And we came from two different backgrounds but similar values. So
yeah, same values, completely different backgrounds.
Completely.
You are a country girl from Mariba, Italian parents, and I'm not.
You definitely are not a girl from Mariba.
Ciao mama, sto mangiando una banana.
Oh, you're so funny.
So I want to move ahead a couple of years. So we had the practice in this small little shopping centre on Two Good Road. It was Two Good Road Shopping Centre.
Yes,
I think it was. And then all of a
business
sudden, business centre. Yeah. So we started to outgrow that clinic a little bit, and we were looking for somewhere new. We decided to take a punt. Let's go and move into this new building that was being built. San Marino was building it. And so we decided... Main road exposure. Wonder what that's going to be like. Rent was, I think, 2.5 times more than what we were paying. But we looked at the numbers and we went, we can afford this, let's do it. We did a big fit out and we moved. That was stressful.
But do you remember that we tried to get out of it?
No.
Yeah. We had the contracts and something wasn't going right, or we started getting butterflies in our bellies.
We were anxious about it, thinking, have we bitten off more than we can chew here? Yes.
And we tried to get out of it.
And we couldn't.
And then so we didn't pursue it. We just went, well, that's a sign. We have to do it.
We just got to keep going.
But we did. We did sort of,
Yeah. So anyone listening to this, if you're thinking about expanding your business and you're getting really nervous, that's natural because we did. But I know from the time we moved, from the first month, I think business increased by about 30%.
Yeah, I'm never great with figures. That's your area. But yeah, I mean, just the feel and the know and the amount of work hours and it was fantastic. It was awesome.
It was the best move. But going back a little, I remember we had the previous clinic and it used to have these blinds that sort of blocked in that you couldn't see actually inside the business.
Yeah.
And we pulled all them down, repainted the clinic.
That was not long after. Yeah, so simple things like...
And a lot of patients were saying, have you only just moved
Correct.
in? We go, no, we've been in here for a year and a half.
And we got rid of your old grandma's lounge.
Yes, the bad furniture.
So when I first came along, we did some soft refurnishings that weren't going to cost us a lot of money, that we could afford, but made a massive difference to the look of the clinic.
Just to our brand as well. We started to get a little bit more professional looking.
Yes, I couldn't stay there if it was going to stay unprofessional looking.
See all these positives you had on it? So anyway, we moved on to Mulgrave Road.
Yes.
That was a big change, a lot bigger building.
I think we went massive, from... like 3 times the size.
I think it was 90 square metres.
Again, I don't know the numbers.
Well, it might have been 70 square metres where we were, and I think it was 184 square metres that we moved into. But it was on a main road, so automatically the exposure was a lot better. But having that business coach taught us, one, we started putting systems in place. Then we started employing more people.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like when we started taking on other receptionists? Then you had to come into training them.
Yeah. So, can't remember the first one. Anyway, that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But
They're obviously memorable.
I remember many. I remember many, and some are still beautiful family, lifelong friends of ours. But I just can't remember the very first one.
No.
But anyway, I'm sure
there was Sharwin was there before you came in.
Correct.
And Sharwin was really nice because she was happy to step away to let you come in and take her position.
Yeah,
she was going, no, you've
that was
got to
so
work
cute.
your wife. You've got to work with your wife.
Yeah.
So, but I can't remember who the next person was that we ended up taking on.
I think I do remember.
But you don't want to say their name.
No, it doesn't matter. She's probably not listening. And it doesn't matter anyway because it was all part of the growing. But I think it was Terry. It was Terry.
Was it Terry?
It was Terry.
Oh, right, okay.
And she was with us for a number of years. She was with us with the old clinic and then she came over with us to the new clinic. She was there when we had Tia, so she was with us for quite a while. But anyway, that aside, I just wanted to add, because you added something before, and maybe now I'm rambling and saying too much. But something you've taught me early in life, and we've always done it, and it's helped me with making decisions sometimes, and I use this with our daughter, and I've even used it with friends, is you taught me, well, what's the worst possible scenario? So we would always look at, okay, if we make this move, what's the worst that could happen? And if we could deal with what the worst was, we knew it was okay, that we would be fine.
I do that all the time. I still do that all the time.
It was great. That was that's probably the biggest thing I've taken away from your teachings over our lifetime, our time together.
But it's true. It is. What's the worst thing that can happen?
But you brought that awareness to me rather than freaking out or worrying about the now and, can I afford that or whatever. Just actually stopping, thinking,
and it's not focusing on the negative. It's not so much, let's look at all the negative things and start panicking about it. It's actually look at the bad things that could happen. And if that did happen, if your life can't handle that, then don't do it. Correct.
But also then, okay, if this happened, what could we do to fix that? Or if this happened, what have we got in place that would rectify that? And you have systems in place, or you have insurance, or you have whatever, like there's things that can cover a lot of those thoughts.
But business is always going to be a risk. Like any business, it doesn't matter what business you're in, there's always some risk to it.
Yeah.
But I think if you calculate those risks, if you really sit down and work it out, then it's not as bad as what you think.
But in a I call it a service-based business. Is that right? So when you're dealing with patients, clients, customers, one of the biggest things is relationships and building the relationships with people. And we had that. Especially when we were working together, where I would be on the front counter and you'd be the podiatrist coming through, how many times did we get asked? You'd come in and hand me the chart and not accidentally, like just come and put your hand on me or something, and then you'd go away and the patient would say, does he do that to you all the time? Are you okay with that? I'm like, oh, sorry, didn't you realise? He's my husband. So, and then they would get, so excited that, And
I remember a guy in the clinic room one day going, your receptionist is a bit of all right. I said, yeah, I know. He goes, geez, I'd like to tell you that. I said, I do all the time. He goes, seriously? Mike, do you? I said, yeah, all the time. He goes, geez, how do you get away with that? So I had to marry her. And he's like, damn, I wish you hadn't told me that. I just told you your wife is hot. And I went, well, she is.
But yeah, it was nice because we could, you would say, a little joke, we would joke together. So we had a great relationship and then the patients would see that and that then made everything, it was just I think it was always a really feel-good place.
Okay, so if someone's listening to this and they are a husband and wife team who probably don't get along, who think they can't work together, would you have any advice to think, yeah, maybe they can. They just don't realise that they can.
Yeah, I think sometimes they, let each have their own roles. Like I always knew you were the podiatrist. I never tried to overstep the boundary of, geez, suddenly I know everything about podiatry and I can tell you what to do.
And sometimes you did know more about podiatry than some of the people I think work for me at certain times.
But that was years of listening to you, years of when you would bring me the patient chart out to, attend to the bill and everything, I would read their chart. I would read the notes. I would find out what they were coming in for. I would understand and read how you treated it, and I would learn. And I thought that was, one, interesting, two, helpful then for the patient too, that if they ever spoke about concerns or whatever, I could actually learn and relate to them and understand what was going on. Or and obviously it also helped that I had been a patient and
you were a patient beforehand, weren't you?
Had foot conditions and issues, so I understood what they were going through from first-hand experience, which also was really helpful as well. But anyway, so your question, sorry, I got off track.
Yeah, answer the question.
So your question was advice for others. Yeah, knowing your role and not really overstepping that, but not, you can slightly overstep it, but not like,
but it's not that we agreed with absolutely everything at work.
No,
there was a lot of times I would say, such and happened with this patient and I'm going to do this. And you go, no, you're not going to do that.
But that's also my role as a practice manager and your support team to help you come down.
Well, didn't we eventually make a rule that I was not allowed to write a letter, send an email to anybody unless first it was filtered through you?
Oh, yeah, that helps with anything. Yeah. But fortunately, yes, we have had some of those situations, but we haven't had too many.
No.
And there's some that are super memorable, but thankfully few and far between. Because sometimes you just there's going to be something that you're just not going to get on with a certain person, or it doesn't matter what you do, they're not going to like it or whatever. So you just move on. And over the years, we learnt to deal with that more effectively. But back to the husband and wife team is, having the different roles, but also, you got to know your relationship already. And we knew we had humour. We've always had humour. Not try to take things to heart. Realising that you're in business and you're working
for a common goal.
Yeah. And, if you said something, it was because we were at work. It was to do with work. It was nothing personally. It was nothing directed at me because I was your wife. It was because I was practice manager of this business and you were podiatrist of this business. We just happened to own it together. But thankfully, we've always had the same sort of ideas and values, and most of the time I can't think of too many that we both agreed on the same things. When we moved to that clinic, when we wanted to buy our next clinic, colours. I know one big one that took me a little while to convince you, but we got there when you to drop the navy blue.
Oh yes, these two, yes.
So there's few and far. But it wasn't like a massive. We don't have.
No, we did because I had a certain colour theme that I was working through everything, and I'd had that for a number of years. It was all part of my branding, and then when we ended up buying our own building and moving the clinic into it, you were going, that navy blue is not coming.
Yeah, and I was with you.
We argued over it.
Yeah, but
then once I agreed that okay, fine, let's do it then.
Yeah,
I looked and went, yeah, you were right.
Just
it was
fresher
so much better
and more open, and it was dated. And we had it everywhere. We had navy bench tops and navy walls. And
it was good at the time.
But we picked it together. So anyway, that doesn't matter. But that's probably one thing that really sticks out. And, then down the track was new machinery, new products, new items that were quite very costly. And I'd be like are you sure?
I was like, we bought the milling machine.
Correct.
It was going to be like $80,000, and we bought the laser, and it was going to be $30,000.
Yeah, but
I had a plan.
Yeah, and you never just did it without telling me. We would talk about it, and you would always give me a plan and always tell me, okay, this is how much we would charge. This is what we're getting now. It would always work out. So none of them ever backfired. So respecting each other's, going back to the question, respecting each other's roles, not taking it personally. You obviously got on. So remember why you married each other in the first place. You got, like I've had even people now say, oh my God, yes, we just know, like I work in the office and he works, say if he's a mechanic, he's the mechanic. And sometimes we'll have some fiery arguments and then they move on. I guess we weren't fiery people like that either.
No.
Some people will just fly. I remember one lady many years ago, just someone in the podiatry world that I'd met once, said she threw a hamburger at her husband during lunchtime because he was annoying her so much.
Hopefully it was a bad hamburger,
And I
not a
went,
good one.
geez, that's
a
see,
bit-
we're
that's a bit
not
harsh.
like
But we've got friends like
that.
Debbie and Leon who they're in business together.
They're awesome.
And how awesome are they?
Oh,
They are
and
together
would have their little
all the time. Oh, I'm sure they argue.
Oh, God,
And they're a little bit fierier than us.
Yeah.
But they work so well together. So that I know so many examples of people, husband and wife teams who work together in all different industries who are absolutely kicking ass.
Correct. And maybe a little advice, or if there's the opportunity where they could be working together and it'd be better for their business if they're working together because they both have massive strengths. Maybe the reason that you think you can't, maybe that's something you need to work on.
Yeah.
With a business coach, a life coach, whatever it is, because you can move on from that and you can then have a better relationship, business and personal.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. So after we had the podiatry clinic for a number of years, and then we decided to set up the shoe shop.
Mm-hmm. That I felt totally alone.
Yeah, and I do. So we had a podiatry clinic, and we were selling shoes within the podiatry clinic, and then as the podiatry clinic was getting bigger and bigger, we decided I need the space,
And
but we didn't want to give up.
And you were also franchising the podiatry clinic.
Yeah, and we didn't want to give up, so we ended up moving the shoes out to a separate business, and then you went and worked that business. And in hindsight, that was probably... I missed you. I missed you being at the clinic.
I was angry.
You were a little bit angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Angry.
Bitter, twisted. No, not twisted.
Well, I was still working. I was running between two.
Yeah, between both.
Yeah.
But eventually we brought the building in between both where both our businesses were, and we brought them back in together.
Again. And then I was like, again. Happy again.
But the reason I wanted to get you on was, like, I do think there's a lot of husband and wife teams, husband and wives who have thought about working together and don't, or there's ones who are working together at the moment who may be banging heads a little bit, and they need to... I love what you said about just knowing each other's roles. Yeah. And it's the same way. I look at it this way. I would not talk to a team member the way that I've seen some people talk to their partners. No.
And we never ever had arguments in front of staff.
No, but you know what? I've seen a husband and wife, for example, say in a business, and they are angry with each other. Or the way that the husband might talk to the wife, or the wife will talk to the husband. But I think you would never talk like that to one of your employees.
No.
So I think that's where you got to respect each other's roles and also have respect for each other. Yeah,
and for the staff around you as well when you have staff.
I'll let you abuse me when we get home.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the bruises. That's why I wear long sleeve shirts.
Yeah.
So have you got anything else you would like to add, or any parting advice before we wrap up? Because I have loved having you on here.
Yeah.
Like I said, this has taken a long time to get you on.
Well, I just think, thank you.
And I reckon you might even listen to this episode.
Well, I might.
You might.
Or I might not, because I don't want to hear my voice. But also, it's been great because it's allowed us to look back and reflect, and makes me all warm and fuzzy, because right now we're different again. We're in a position where we don't have a...
We don't have any of the podiatry businesses. We don't have the shoe shops.
No, we don't have a concrete, set business that we go to and work together, or not together. Or, we don't have that.
Well, now it's revolved.
Physical.
Now I'm doing the business coaching for different people. And now that we don't have the shoe shop, we're starting to work together again. Well,
this is the first together thing we're doing in this sort of sense. But it is, I do miss it. I do miss working on something together with other people around as well. So I don't know what's going on in your life all the time. I don't know these people that you talk to on the other end of a phone or a video conference call. So I'm out of the loop.
Yeah, and we're slowly trying to bring you back into the loop.
Yeah.
Which I think will be fun. Well, Christine, I want to thank you for giving up some of your time this afternoon and spending it with me, your husband, also known as Dr. T.
Now I'm officially Mrs. Dr. T, am I?
You are. You are officially Mrs. Dr. T, and it could be It's No Secret with Dr.
Mr.
T.
and Mrs.
With Mr. and Mrs. Dr. T. It's like that show, Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Oh.
Remember that?
I might have to go to the gym a bit more before we can do that. But anywho, I've loved it. Thank you. I was a bit nervous, but now I'm so glad. I know it's taken 201 episodes to get me here, but or 200, whichever it was.
200. This is 201.
Okay, so thank you for allowing me to be your 201st episode. I'm so proud of the you've taken a risk and doing the podcast and all the different people you've interviewed and all their amazing different advice that they have in business, and then you still got me on. So thank you for believing in me and allowing me to spend some time with you on air.
No, this has been great. So thank you very much, my beautiful wife.
Okay, no problem at all. Bye.